And good afternoon. It is Friday, and that means it's time for our Friday Lunch and Learn. I'm just going to warn you today. I'm going to tell you some things that are counterintuitive, and I don't even know if I believe some of this stuff. Okay. However, Dr. Mercola is very respected in the holistic circles, and I'm not saying that we need to do some of these suggestions all the time. However, if you are someone who is suffering from autoimmune difficulties, autoimmune challenges, then this might be something that you want to look at. This is not something, again, that we want to recommend for everybody all the time. However, there are certain things that may be helpful if you are one of the people who are suffering from autoimmune disease. The report says that 54.4 million people in the United States are dealing with an autoimmune disease. Okay. He's specifically going to be talking about rheumatoid arthritis here, but he goes on to say almost all autoimmune issues are caused by the same thing, which is antigens leaking through into the bloodstream. The bloodstream mounts an immune response, and that immune response, which goes on and on and on forever and ever, it triggers the body to be confused. The body starts to think that the antigen is something that it needs to fight, which it is, but then the immune system gets confused and starts attacking its own tissues. So the immune issues that most people deal with are rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's, and ulcerative colitis. Now, I will tell you, we see a lot of that here in the clinic. And so, as I say, this report comes from Dr. Joseph Mercola, who is a medical doctor. However, he's also well respected in the holistic circle. So, want to look at what he has to say about autoimmune disorders, because 54.4 million people in the United States are dealing with these challenges. Now, in July, there was a research paper published by the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, which revealed that fewer than 1 in 14 adults in the United States have optimum cardiometabolic health. Fewer than 1 in 14. So that's not very many people. 1 in 14, even less than that, has proper cardiometabolic response. So what does that mean? That means that they lack the ability to shift seamlessly between burning carbs and burning fat for fuel. When that happens, you have an impaired immune system. So to put this another way, there's only 1 in 14 who do not have an impaired immune system. So that means almost everybody has an impaired immune system. So why is that? Remember, we talked about the antigens that go into the bloodstream. The bloodstream sees that that is something that is a foreign invader. Probably one of the most common ways that this happens is through leaky gut syndrome. What is that? Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of anatomy here. From your mouth all the way down to your backside, you've got this GI tube that has a lot of, it's got a good protective mucus coating. When we eat the standard American diet, known as the SAD, Standard American Diet, what we are doing is we are eating foods that are not foods. We're eating contaminants that are in our food. Those contaminants burrow through the mucosa membrane in the small intestine. And what happens when you eat your food, it goes through your stomach, it goes through your small intestines where all the nutrients are absorbed, right? They leak out because that mucosa membrane has been breached, it has been compromised. And so undigested proteins leak out into the bloodstream. Your body mounts an immune response. When it mounts an immune response, then all of the warriors come to take care of it. If we continue eating the standard American diet, we don't change the way we eat, then that happens more and more and more. The body can't keep up, and so it becomes confused, and that's when autoimmune disease sets in. So we've been talking about anthocyanins, all right? Those are nutrients that are found in your dark purple foods, and when you're eating those dark purple foods, you get about 25 milligrams of those anthocyanins. Now, the anthocyanins go into your cells and they repair your cells at the metabolic level. So why is that important? If you're going to correct your immune system, then you need those nutrients. And we have found that these particular nutrients are working very hard at repairing the metabolic features in your immune system. So when you're doing it with your diet, you're going to get about 25 milligrams. We've got supplements that will give you 125 milligrams. And the reports that are coming in are showing that your blood work is changing with cholesterol, with blood pressure, with fatty liver disease, all these kind of things that are chronic diseases. Everything that is a chronic disease is a metabolic process. So I've got about 6 or 7 different research papers on my desk that show how these anthocyanins are correcting that. So if you are someone who is concerned about their immune system, worried about your metabolic function, then this might be something that you want to be looking at, all right? So part of the reason why we have this immune dysfunction is because we are grazers, right? What is a grazer? A grazer is someone who eats all the time. Might be little meals, okay? So we're not saying that it's gluttonous or overeating or anything like that. There is a process in the body called autophagy. Autophagy happens when we are fasting. So autophagy is, remember when you're in your big major stores and they'll, over the loudspeaker, say, clean up in aisle 4, right? Well, that's what autophagy does in your body. When you're fasting, then your body does not have to use a lot of energy to digest your food. It takes a lot of energy to do that. The body can then take that energy to go into the cells and clean up the cells, clean out the cells, and that kind of thing. And when your cells are free of their metabolic waste, there's that word again, metabolic, when they're free of their metabolic waste, then they're able to function properly. And so the fact that we graze, we eat all the time, dampens that autophagy feature, which is self-preservation, okay? So what we want to do is we maybe want to look at that window. So there's something that is called time-restricted eating. You might call it intermittent fasting, all right? And what this means is that you want to only confine your eating to about 6 to 8 hours a day. Most people eat about 12 hours a day. So they have 12 hours of eating, 12 hours of fasting. 90%, according to the research, and this is a researcher called Panda. That's his last name. I'm not even going to try and butcher the first name, so y'all forgive me on that. He suggests that 90% of people eat for more than 12 hours a day. Over time, this habit will wreak havoc on your metabolism, limit your ability to metabolize fat as a primary fuel. We know that when you have fat as your primary fuel, then your blood sugar stays stable. So what is one of the fastest growing diseases that we have here in the United States? It's diabetes type 2. What does that mean? That means people eat high sugar meals. They eat a lot of simple carbohydrates, and so their blood sugar is up and down and up and down, and there's no stability there. So one of the holistic things that we do is we tell them to eat multiple meals a day. We do tell them to do that. High protein, high fat foods. Why is that? Because that is a longer digestive time and it doesn't spike the blood sugar. All right. So he goes on to say, when you eat throughout the day and never skip a meal, your body adapts to burning sugar as your primary fuel, resulting in the downregulation of enzymes that utilize and burn stored fat. Now, downregulation means suppression. That's a medical term. So you've got upregulation, which means you're on the hyper side. You've got downregulation, which means you're on the depressed side. So we want our bodies, I want my body to be a fat burning machine. Why is that? Because if I'm a fat burning machine, I'm not going to have a weight issue. All right. So all of you out there that are struggling, and we know that 2 out of 3 are overweight, 1 out of 3 is obese. Okay. So if this is you, then if you will start doing time regulated eating, you're going to find that you get out of that sugar burning metabolic state. You go into a fat burning metabolic state, and it's going to help with just a whole lot of other issues, okay? When you eat all throughout the day, you become insulin resistant, all right? You start gaining weight. Most biological repair and rejuvenation processes take place when you are fasting, and this is another reason why all-day grazing triggers disease, whereas fasting prevents them. Now, I know you're going to think fasting is a hard thing. Fasting is not a hard thing. You get your body, I mean, we eat for a lot of stupid reasons. We eat for entertainment. We eat for emotional comfort. We eat because it's a social thing to do. We eat when we're not even hungry, okay? Years ago, when I started learning all about this, I started looking and just being mindful of what I was eating, and I found that I was full when about half of my plate was finished. Now, did I overload my plate? I don't remember that. Maybe. But I know, like last night, I went and had dinner. What did I have? I had chicken parmesan with Alfredo. I love Alfredo. Do I have it often? No, I don't. I ate almost all the chicken, just a little bit of the Alfredo. Why is that? Because all noodles here in the United States, unless they are labeled grain-free, have heavy metals in them because they have glyphosate in them, and I choose not to do that. So I probably left more than half of the food on my plate, but I was very, very satisfied. Okay, so if you're mindful and you stop eating when you are full, then you're going to do better. So fasting is not that big of a deal because what you're doing is you are being mindful of your food and you're only eating when you are hungry. All right, so when you're doing time release, no, that's not right, time regulated eating, okay, or intermittent fasting, you're going to confine your eating to 6 to 8 hours, which means you're going to be avoiding food for 16 to 18 consecutive hours. So that is something that you have to do mindful. Now, it's real easy for me because I don't get hungry first thing in the morning. Some people wake up absolutely ravenous. That could be because you're nutrient deficient. When you're nutrient deficient, your body is hungry all the time, okay? This is something that we know. When you have vitamins that are absorbable, when you are taking in your nutrition that is absorbable, your gut is working the way it needs to, then you're not going to be hungry. Hunger is a survival mechanism that tells your body you are missing nutrition. I don't have it on my desk. We've got that scanner, okay? That scanner in 30 seconds reads the carotenoids in the heel of your hand, and it tells you if you are absorbing your nutrition or not. So if you are absorbing your nutrition, you're not going to be that hungry. I can just tell you from experience, dealing with myself, dealing with the people that come into my office, if you're hungry all the time, you're not absorbing your nutrition, and that's your body telling you to eat more. Now, the problem with that is our fruits and vegetables, even if they are organic, are probably 75% less nutritious than they were in 1985. The last statistics, and you've heard me say this before, the last statistics show in 2002 that most of our fruits and vegetables had lost their nutritional density by 73-75% since 1985. There's not been another study done since then, to the best of my knowledge. So what does that mean? That means if you are not supplementing with a vitamin that is bioavailable, what you're getting at the big box store is not bioavailable. It doesn't have all the cofactors in it. It's not at a therapeutic dose to do you any good. And if it's got chemicals and fillers and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to absorb it. So you're just wasting your money on that. So we want to eat 6 to 8 hours a day, fast for 14 to 16 hours a day. The 18-hour window works better for overweight people. The 16-hour window works better for normal weight individuals, all right? So the key to this is to make sure that you're not starting too late in the day, okay? This is a strategy that works for just about anyone, and it is $0, okay? Everybody can afford to do this, all right? You're not limited counting your calories, so you don't have to go through all the mathematical, what is the exchange for this, and what is that, and what is the other thing. You just eat your normal food, healthy choices. Be mindful, but if you eat in that 6 to 8 hour window, you're going to see that you're metabolically, you change at the cellular level. And so that's what we want to do. Now, if you do have a autoimmune disease, it is an inflammatory disease. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier that you're going to want to pay attention to, and don't shoot the messenger, okay? I'm reading a report here. There is a group of people, okay, not just one person. There's a group of people who have decided that because there are a lot of things in plants with their autoimmune diseases, they have taken plants out of their diet altogether. This is not something we recommend for healthy people. This is if you have an autoimmune disease, okay? And they go on a very strict carnivore diet. Now, I'm a Texas girl. I love my beef. I absolutely love my beef. But I also eat my vegetables along with it, okay? But if you have this inflammatory disease, they are saying that if you shift your diet temporarily and only eat meat-based proteins, that it removes all of the irritants from the plant, from your system, and your body's going to recover a whole lot better. So for those who suffer with a severe and debilitating autoimmune disease, this approach can be helpful. The scientific justification and help in implementing the carnivore diet, one of the best resources is a book called The Carnivore Code, Unlocking the Secrets to Optimum Health, and there is a podcast called The Carnivore MD. Okay, so you can look at that, you can make your own decisions. We are not saying that this is a good diet for you if you are healthy. 54.4 million people in the United States have an autoimmune disease, so this is for you. Now, I'm going to tell you why. We're going to break this down so that you can make the best decisions for you. So nightshades, and we have said this before, if you have rheumatoid arthritis or if you have any kind of autoimmune disease, nightshade vegetables are not your friend, all right? This includes tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, eggplant, goji berries, all right? This promotes inflammation and joint pain in people. So are all of these food good foods? Yes, they're good foods, but they're not good for you if you have an autoimmune situation. So temporarily, we're asking you to be mindful and take these out of your diet and see if your pain does not resolve. If you have rheumatoid arthritis, you can have a lot of pain. If you are having Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, you've got a lot of pain going on. So if you stop eating what's causing the inflammatory process, you're going to manage your pain and you're going to be doing just so much better. Now, a lot of times, if you have these diseases, your doctor's going to give you biologic medications. What they do is they further suppress your immune system, so you're going to be more prone to more serious diseases like cancer. All right, so that's just not something that we recommend. So if you change your food, you can change what's going on in your body, your metabolic health, and then you can get better. So there's another natural substance in plants called phytic acid. This is known as an anti-nutrient for its ability to bind to minerals. So it pulls out of the body, it impairs the absorption of zinc, iron, calcium, and other minerals that can promote mineral deficiencies. Oxalates. Oxalates are compounds in your leafy greens. Now, normally we tell you we want you to eat a lot of leafy greens, and we do unless you are one of these 54 million people that have an autoimmune disease. So the oxalates cause sharp crystals in the blood. It leads to chronic pain and inflammation, oxidative stress, kidney stones, and autoimmune disease. So what is oxidative stress? Oxidative stress occurs when you're not absorbing your nutrition, because your nutrition goes into the body uses enzymes to change that nutrition into antioxidants. Your antioxidants gobble up all the free radicals, and it's the free radicals that are making you sick. So we've come full circle to the metabolic process. We've come full circle to your nutrition. You've got to change what you're doing in order to change your body at the cellular level. Lectins, these are plant compounds that promote leaky gut. They alter the microbiome, they stimulate the immune system, and trigger inflammation. So again, right, if you're healthy, I'm healthy. All right, my blood work is great. I don't worry about eating good, healthy foods because why? I take anthocyanins, right? I'm not insulin resistant. I don't have leaky gut syndrome, all those things that lead to an autoimmune issue. So I can eat all of the good foods that God gave us and not worry about it because I'm healthy. If you have this immune disorder, then you've got an issue there, all right? I'm going to say these words and I'm going to make a mess out of it. Salicylates, okay, these are naturally occurring pesticides that plants use to protect against insects, fungus, and bacterial infections. In humans, they cause a wide range of symptoms from tinnitus, ringing in the ears, to ulcers. Of highest concern are avocados, berries, grapes, almonds, honey, dried fruits. So again, these are not bad foods, but if you have an autoimmune disease, you want to avoid these for a short time. If you follow the FODMAPs diet, all right, which I'm not a fan of this diet for most people because it takes out so many good foods. However, if you are challenged with autoimmune disease, then this would be good for you. It stands for fermentable oleosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. These compounds cause severe digestive distress for some people. And honestly, people, this is what we see coming into the clinic all the time. Almost every person that comes in has digestive disorders to one extent or the other. We do see a lot of inflammatory bowel disease. We do see a lot of leaky gut. We do see a lot of ulcerative colitis. Okay, we do see a lot of that. You change your food, you change what you put in, you take out all the inflammatory foods, we give you good enzymes, we give you good probiotics. Your gut wants to repair itself, and when your gut is right, it's got that good connection to your brain, and at the metabolic level, you're going to be doing what you need to be doing, okay? These compounds that we're talking about are further enhanced by our United States process of spraying the plants with glyphosate. So unless you're eating absolutely organic, you're going to have problems with this. So saponins are another compound that are in plants. They promote leaky gut. They cause gas, bloating, and nausea. So if that is you, then that's something that we want to look at. There's a lot of people that come in that have gas and bloating. We see that all the time. The next compound that we're looking at are goitrogens, okay? These compounds reduce the iodine uptake into the thyroid gland and they slow the production of thyroid hormones. The result can be an enlarged thyroid, a goiter, and a host of other metabolic disturbances. There's that word again. What do you need if you have a metabolic disturbance? Say it with me, everybody. Anthocyanins, all right? Where do you get these? You get them from your dark purple foods. You get 25 milligrams in your diet, maybe if you're lucky. But if you talk to me, I can give you 125 milligrams per day, which is going to sort you out at the metabolic level. So that's what we need. Then the last compound that we want to talk to you about is phytoestrogens. What are phytoestrogens? Phytoestrogens are those compounds that we get in our food that are false estrogen, plant-based estrogens that change us in our hormone level, okay? So they disrupt the hormone cascade. They're used as a natural defense against bacteria in plants, but they disrupt animal fertility. In humans, they cause hormonal dysfunction and promote cancer. So for all of these reasons, if you're dealing with an autoimmune challenge, you need to talk to me about anthocyanins, all right? We change you at the metabolic level. All right, so when we're doing computer language, right, there was garbage in, garbage out, right? You remember that? What you see is what you get. Remember that? Okay, it's the same thing with your body. If you're feeding your body things that are going to harm your gut, you're going to open up those junctures of the mucus in your small intestine. You're going to have the antigens go through the body, get into the bloodstream. And it's not, guys, and I have to say this in code because the people are going to ban the video, right? But remember what we've been dealing with for the past 2 years. Remember the things that we've been putting into our bodies that leak through into the bloodstream. Those are antigens. Those cause an immune response. When we're doing that at that level, that changes us at our base core in the center of our cells. And so the only thing that can reverse that is to change the metabolic process. You can do it by adding anthocyanins into your diet. You can do it by intermittent fasting, which costs you $0. You just have to be mindful and then make a list of all of these food components that are bad for you if you have autoimmune disease. If you don't have autoimmune disease, if you're like me, okay, you don't have autoimmune disease, you're probably dealing with your metabolic processes. I am. You're probably dealing with your digestion by having good enzymes. I am. You're probably making sure that you're moving your bowels 2 to 3 times a day to make sure that the nasty that goes in with your food that you don't catch goes right out the body within 18 to 24 hours, so you're not dealing with that. That's not putting a toxic burden on your immune system. That's me. So there's a lot of things that you can do that are healthy to get you out of that inflammatory process. On your blood work, if you have high cholesterol, especially your LDL, then you are in an inflammatory process. If your C-reactive protein is high, you are in an inflammatory process. If your homocysteine is high, you are in an inflammatory process. So you've got your tools just right there. If you want me to look at your blood work, I'll be happy to do that. We have anthocyanins here. We have digestive enzymes here. We know how to train you to do intermittent fasting and that kind of thing. I was doing my calculations when I was preparing for this, and I pretty much do intermittent fasting, right? So I haven't been like mindful to make sure that I only eat between these hours. But when I go back and look over my day, we eat a very early dinner. We eat dinner about 5:30, something like that. And so really, I don't start to eat till about 10. So that's just a very, very narrow window. And so even without trying, because I'm not hungry all the time, why? Because I'm taking those good bioavailable vitamins. So my appestat in my brain is not telling me to eat all the time. I'm not hungry because I'm taking those vitamins that have all the nutrition in there that is bioavailable. So all the tools in the world we have for you. We've got that biophotonic scanner. You can come in. It takes 30 seconds for me to scan you to see what you're doing at the nutritional level. And then we've got all these things that can help you change your body at the metabolic level so that you don't have to deal with autoimmune disease. You cannot, we don't want you to be that 14, right? Out of 15 people, 14 people have autoimmune issues. We don't want you to be one of those. We want you to be the odd man out, right? Because you're going to be healthy. You're not going to have a weight issue. You're not going to have all these other issues. So there's help for you. We've got this for you. And so hopefully if you have any questions, you're going to pop them in the comments. Hopefully you're going to share this and let your friends know. We appreciate it when you do that. I know a lot of people come in throughout the week. I watch you. I never see that you watch me because you're doing it incognito, and I get that and I appreciate that. But please share, please comment, and if there's something that you did not understand, if there's something you want to know more about, let me know. Remember, your health starts at the metabolic level. It's the weekend. You know what that means. A lot of self-care, a lot of rest, a lot of relaxation, and I will see you next week.